the idea of chastity was, or like virginity in your upbringing. Like in mine, it's like virginity was like the biggest thing ever. And like in my friend group, I remember going to bachelorette parties where they were getting married and they were like giving them the like candy bras and stuff for their wedding night. And I was mortified to be there. Like I could not even imagine like the idea of just having it. And then friends of like telling stories of their wedding nights of just like sobbing in the bathroom afterwards because they had like lost this thing that was held so dear to them. And I just, what is your opinion on that? Or like, have you ever felt that way? Or like, what was the idea of virginity and chastity taught to you?
All right, great question. Thank you for bringing it up, Jessica. Go ahead, ladies. You guys want to start off and answer that? Amelia, go
I mean,
ahead. Go ahead, Amelia.
I can always start.
Go
I
ahead, go
just
ahead,
like
Amelia.
know what
Go ahead,
sets me
Amelia.
off.
I'll let Amelia go.
Let's see. Yeah, so I kind of had mentioned earlier, I really grew up with shame surrounding sex, shame surrounding like sexual feelings, like actions, everything. Like the church very much prohibits not just like sex, like like when you think of sex, but like sexual acts between people, and also like things like pornography and masturbation, but like all of those things. Everything surrounding sex is like a no-no. And so there's a lot of shame surrounding a lot of those things. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I just grew up like with a lot of shame, but also like excitement. I was like, I'm so excited to get married so I can finally have sex. I was kind of the opposite. Like I'd be so jealous when I'd be like, oh, I just can't wait so I can have sex when I'm married. I was very excited for it, even though I felt all that shame. And I wanted to get married so that I wouldn't feel that shame surrounding sex because I felt like then I would be allowed to have sexual feelings and I'd be allowed to do sexual things. And yeah, and like I remember like thinking things like thinking there was something wrong with me, thinking I was like an addict or something. I would like go to my bishop and I'm okay, how much am I? Okay, yeah. So anyways, I'll just share. So I would like masturbate once, and then I'd be like, I am the worst person in the world. And I would go to my bishop and I'd be like, I have this addiction. I'm like addicted and I'm a terrible person. And then, yeah, like the thing, you can't take the sacrament. There would be times in my life where like I wasn't allowed to take the sacrament. Sometimes I would, depends on the bishop. So for me, there's a lot of shame around it, but yet also excitement for what was to come when I was finally married and able to do those things. But then when I did finally have sex, like shame free because I had left the church at that point, and so I didn't really feel that same shame about it. It was like it wasn't like fireworks, like wow, this was the most amazing thing in my life. But it was nice, and it was really nice to finally like be in a place where I didn't feel shame about it. So yeah, I kind
Awesome.
of that went long, but I hope that makes sense.
That was great.
Oh, that was great. Thank you for sharing it, Amelia. Yeah, everybody has them has skipped sacrament because they had some lustful thoughts. Yeah, everybody has gone through that. That's hilarious. All right, thank you, Amelia, for sharing that. Alexis, what's your thoughts, Alexis? That question.
Well, yeah, one thing is like yes, there's a lot of kind of negative feelings with good and bad choices in life, or whatever you define those as. But it's like yes, there's shame and there's guilt and there's all these things. And I think as we're younger, we're more prone to those feelings. Like you don't want to be like the bad daughter or whatever else. But there's a purpose behind them, and there's a reason why the church has made the statement that it has on our levels and standards and things. But also there's some statements that we don't really hear about. Like there was one, I wish I knew his name, but there was one like Quorum of the 70 that's like really, really recommended to stake presidents that they sleep with their wives. And he's like, please do it. Like keep them happy. And those things that they don't like talk about. And like my mom always said, she was like, after it's like all bets off. Like after you're married, like all bets off. And she wanted to make sure that I was very comfortable with it. And she was a doctor, so she would talk more than I wanted her to about it. So I was able to like speak and talk about it and ask questions from a very medical perspective and not feel like guilty about it, which was a nice thing. But I'm also really, really, really glad that I had that standard of keeping myself clean. I do believe it is keeping yourself clean and keeping that purity, because hookup culture is very damaging, and I know a lot of people that are more so a victim of that than a feeling of shame. It's more so, it's like, it's something to be proud of, to like keep yourself, and you choose when that goes, and I don't know, I never thought of my virginity like that, like you had said, Jessica, like hearing friends like crying in the bathroom like the night of, like losing your purity. I don't think that's it at all. If anything, it's like, that's like, you've won, right? That was your choice. That was your like your ability to exercise your freedom, being restraining and then not. So I don't know. I was just very, very grateful, because I got to pick and choose, and it was really fireworks, to the extent that I have gone, because it was my choice. So.
All right. I wish I had a fireworks sound effect. Press right now. I guess I'll do that. I'll press that.
I feel like honored. I feel like I get the most sound effects. It's a competition now.
All right, no worries. Thank you for sharing, Alexis. Wow, what's your turn, Keira? Go ahead, Keira.
I feel like my experience is probably going to be different than most. So, like you said, I mean, again, like, I don't know, like you said that some of the girls were like crying in the bathroom after because it felt like something, like that they cared for. So, have you guys seen Jane the Virgin?
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. The flower, yeah.
Yeah, and then also like, it's different like when you get to choose versus, but I was like fully taken advantage of, and that's how I was introduced to everything. So like, of course there was the breakdown, because it's something that, my whole life I kept very dear, and that's something that I wanted to choose and be like, yes, like, and so I still like am, and I'm gonna get married in the temple and all that, because hashtag doesn't count, and but it's something like
Feel that.
Because now like it's an awful thing, but it's helped me grow so much, so that like with my boyfriend and stuff, like when I decided to stuff, it is like those fireworks, because it's something that I hold so special, like after the time and the healing and stuff like that. And obviously I wish that was not my first experience, but it's life and it's a trial, but I definitely can see both sides, and I think it depends a lot who it's with. And like I agree with the hookup culture, but like it's someone you care about, like it makes a huge difference, like whether it's full on sex or, just kissing and stuff like that. If it's your choice, I feel like it's just a whole lot better. But yeah.
All right, no worries.
Sorry,
just
a follow-up question. I'm curious, how like have we all been sexually assaulted in our lives? Like, I'm just curious if we all have.
Oh yeah,
I have
slightly, but they weren't LDS.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
and I was really young. I was 14 and I didn't know what was happening.
Just curious.
All right, no worries.
Oh, yeah, I forgot a big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.